For this Christmas, deck the halls with something naughty. Here's your Christmas spot on the NECA Toys Elvira's Scary Xmas. The devilishly delightful Cassandra Peterson has played the part of Elvira for more than 40 years with grace, humor, and more than a little camp. NECA is proud to present this hauntingly holiday-themed figure for your horror collection. This deluxe scary Xmas Elvira 8-inch action figure is fully articulated and features tailored fabric clothing, 2 interchangeable expressions, Bloody Mary, Naughty List with quill, tray of gingerbread men cookies, and an articulated creature who was stirring figure with tailored fabric apron, bowl, and spoon. Comes in a window box packaging with slipcover. I wonder who is making Elvira's naughty list. Before we find that out, let's grab the tape measure and see how tall the figure stands. Now, you may notice already, I've got the figure displayed on top of her display stand just because, again, the size of footprint space that her real estate occupies. There really isn't a lot of space for her to stand properly. With that being said, though, Elvira is standing at about 8 1/4 inches in height, or the figure is going to be roughly 20 inches tall. Then for the creature who is stirring, you'll see what I mean more in a second. The creature, though, stands only about half of that, about 4 inches in height, or the figure is going to be about 10 centimeters tall. Having already looked at 2 Elviras from NECA Toys, I'm actually only going to just bring in the one. Although looking at one of the head sculpts that come included with the figure, actually the defaulted head sculpt is actually the more one that we get with the red, white, and blue Elvira. But I did at least want to bring in the original Elvira. This one is slouching, though, just a little bit. But if you were to have her standing straight, the figures are going to be exactly the same size. I don't know if I would call him an accessory. He is a figure just as much as Elvira, possessing not as much posability, granted, but still posability none the same. The figure comes also include Elvira, that is, comes include with the creature that is stirring. And the reason why we call it the creature that is stirring is the fact that the figure literally comes include with a mixing bowl and a spoon. The creature that is stirring. Stirring up, I'm sure, some concoctions, batters of some sort that will eventually make their way onto the cookie tray. The cookie tray does have various different sized gingerbread men. This one actually looks like it's seen some hard days. I don't know if these are actually gingerbread men that have scarves or they're been hung. Either way, that's quite disturbing. The gingerbreads themselves are actually molded all to the cookie sheets. The sheet itself looks like it's been molded here in silver plastic, but the actual individual cookies of the gingerbread men of varying tortures all have been nicely painted. Now, you can, as it is right now, take the creature that is stirring, and with the hand that he has right now, you can take the cookie sheet and slide it in between the thumb and the fingers. And then the actual, let's just get that back into his hand. You can actually have the monster carrying around the cookies. I don't know as willy-nilly as this, if you're going to be carrying around a tray of cookies. Surely, though, the cookies, I'm sure, will slide off the tray that way. But it is at least one hand, at least one way of displaying the cookies that you could also really put it in Elvira's hands. Although with Elvira's hands, they sort of have given you just basically the same stock hands as the other earlier looked at Elvira's. So with that, mileage may vary as how well she actually can hold the cookies. You can take the tray and sort of put it in between her thumbs. There we go. You can have her carrying around the cookies that way if you want. As for, I guess we'll kind of go back to the creature that is stirring. The creature actually does have itself an apron, a real fabric apron. If I was to lift up the apron, you see it looks to be a brand new mold. I can't imagine they probably would have used this mold for anything else from before. Head sculpt for it kind of gives us a little, I would almost say like a goblin or a gargoyle. I'll probably stick with maybe like a troll as a description for this. He has horns on the top of his head. He sort of has one somber eye on one side. I don't know if he's actually falling asleep or he's been getting into the Bloody Marys. She does actually come include with one of those as well. One thing I was surprised to see was that the creature is stirring actually does have a mouth that opens and closes. Doesn't have any other features on his face that do move other than really just his head. But it's a really nicely little detailed figure. Definitely going to make its way onto the mantle along with Elvira. Now we are kind of getting under the wire if I'm looking at my outdated calendar. Yeah, Christmas is just right around the corner. So I don't know if I'll be able to sneak these ones out actually onto the actual mantle, or I might just end up putting them in the office for at least right now until Santa arrives. Now, there's some, again, articulation on this. You can rotate the tail back and forth. He does have very limited articulation when it comes to his legs. I mean, you can move them in and out. He doesn't have any possessed knee articulation. He doesn't have any really holes on the bottoms of his feet. I guess they really could have added holes, but actually the tail does help to stabilize. And when you get him out of the package, I think the tail is twisted the other way around. But if you twist it, though, outward, kind of gives him a little bit more of a stabilized tripod. The figure also does have articulation there in the head, a nice ball joint there. It also has ball joints or hinge joints there for the shoulders, hinge joints for the elbows. You can rotate the arms back and forth, and the figure does also have a swiveling hand. If you did want to have him holding the bowl, of course, if he's stirring and all, you just pop the hand that he comes off with, and you get this other hand that basically is just a relaxed or flat hand. Pop that back into the socket. Then you can take yourself the spoon, and with this hand right here, you can see how close in quarters those fingers are to the palm. You just take the spoon, slide it sort of in between the fingers until it kind of gets to about here. And then you can just twist the hand around, get the bowl, put it in his hand. And one thing actually that does help with the spoon, if you have the spoon angled in such a way, the spoon in a way sort of holds the bowl. See that? You can have the creature that is stirring. Love that. So that's the creature. Now let's move on to the accessories that come included with Cassandra Peterson, that is. We already looked at the fact she comes included with the tray of cookies. We'll put that off to the side. The figure also comes included with the naughty list. Now, looking at the naughty list, it is, of course, in alphabetical order. It starts with Artie. It works its way all the way down to Zaza. I don't know if these are actually references to characters from Elvira's universe, or if perhaps they're like hidden jokes with NECA toys. Maybe some of these characters actually, some of these people actually do work for NECA. If that's the case, I would love to meet Sparky. I'm sure he's of delight at parties. Unfortunately, though, the paper, it is literally just paper. It's laminated, though, which is good. I mean, it sort of has like a smoothness to it. But in a way, I kind of wish that this was plastic or laminated. I have, it kind of at the beginning of this video, kind of bent it just a little bit. So it has a little bit more, it doesn't look so flat necessarily. It looks like it would actually be a list. And you can take the list. And again, it doesn't really fit very well in her hands, just because, again, like the figure does have stock hands for this. But if you can't, you can kind of take this and put it in between her fingers and rest it sort of that way. And she can kind of look like she's looking at the list. The other thing she also comes included with is the quill pen. Actually, you know what? Let's just remove her from the display stand. Before I get any further, I did also want to tell you guys that she does also come included with the display stand. It's the same stand we have also gotten with Elvira from before. It's printed down below here. And it says Elvira. It's a weird looking way of saying E. I mean, look at that. It looks more like an S, but it kind of looks like Elvira. Anyways, she comes included with that. Let's put that to the side. She comes with, already mentioned, the quill pen. Quill pen is nicely painted here. Gray plastic with a little bit of wash of black added in there. You can take the quill pen and wedge it in between her fingers like that. And then, of course, you can take yourself then the list very carefully, just bounce it in between her fingers like that. Yeah, the list is about the only thing it really doesn't hold well in her hands. Just again, you kind of have to get it in between her fingers and her thumb. You can kind of bend in such a way. I had this working so well earlier in the beginning of this video, but then of course everything falls apart the moment you hit record. But it would just normally sit in her hand like this, and then of course you can look at the naughty list, making necessary notes along the way. Let's move that to the side. We'll also go ahead and take the pen because I'm sure I'm going to lose it. The other thing that the figure also comes included with is a Bloody Mary. I would have guessed Caesar, but you can see there's a celery stalk sticking out the top. There's also a straw as well. And you can take this, and this just fits into her hand. I believe with the other Elvira that we had looked at, she came included with a goblet. The goblet, I believe, sat in the same hand. So, of course, you're basically just using the same hand again when it comes to that. She comes with a little Bloody Mary, so that's nice to see. The last thing that the figure comes also included with is an alternate head sculpt. And looking, though, at the two, this is the defaulted head. This, of course, is now the winky face. I'm just going to put Elvira here down for a second. I'm going to bring back in the earlier looked at Elvira just to show you that it is the exact same head sculpt with both the original one and I think also as well the red, white, and Boo. I really should have brought her out for this because, of course, I'm going to have something I'm going to want to talk about in a moment. But this is the winking face. It happens to be the same winking face that came included with the original Elvira. So, again, reusing the same molds, and that I'm really, again, fine for that. The head sculpt simply is just a case of popping off the existing head and replacing it with the winking head. Why I keep saying, though, the red, white, and Boo is with this alternate head sculpt, I'm going to bring back in the original one that we got with the black dress Elvira. You'll remember that the original Elvira sort of had the eyes looking down. The red, white, and Boo version that we've already looked at here on this channel had the eyes looking up. So they're using the mold from that head sculpt or from that figure, not from the original Elvira, because this is the original Elvira head sculpt. So it's a little bit different. I like this one actually a little bit more because the eyes are looking upward. personal preference. Being, of course, that they're all using all the same ball joints after all. It's easily just a case of popping off the existing head. You could replace it with, again, the winking eye face that comes included with already the figure. Or if you really wanted to, you could also use this head sculpt because, again, you're using the same ball joints. As for the rest of the figure's body, what little she has of clothing has been nicely done here by NECA. Of course, she's wearing herself a Santa suit. There's really not much in the way of suit here happening. She does have the belt. The belt actually looks like it's been molded in plastic. It doesn't look like there's a way to detach the belt in any way. So if you perverts out there were thinking I could undress Elvira, you can't. The belt would begin. I suppose you could probably slide this down, but we're not going to be doing that. She does have fur trim along the bottom of her dress or her jacket. I keep wanting to call it a dress because, I mean, again, like she has no pants really. She has fur trim also around the sleeves and probably drawing the most attention. She has also the fur trim around the top. Now the top, again, drawing, I'm sorry, the attention to where they've sculpted the figure. Let's just fix the dress on Elvira there. It does look to be the case. I'm so sorry. Speaking of naughty lists and all, it does look like they are using the same proportions of body. I don't think they've decreased or increased the proportions of Elvira's body. They're going to be exactly the same. The legs also appear to be the same. The one thing that's different, though, done is that they've now added boots to her. The ones before actually would have had just high heels. This one actually does have nicely sculpted boots. So there's a little bit of difference in retooling added to the figure itself. For the articulation on Elvira, the head's going to be on a ball joint. Once again, it does look up, down, and back and forth. Of course, with the size of her hair and how much she has of it sticking down like this, turning the head, of course, you're going to be rubbing against the fur on the top of her dress. So you just want to make sure. I've already had a couple of these little hairs kind of falling off. You probably can't even see it, but it's all a few little random hairs, kind of just all around my backdrop right now. And I got a couple of just kind of falling off as I'm looking at the figure. She has an upper torso ball joint, so that's good to see that. The figure also has hinges in her arms, so it brings those arms at 90 degrees. You can take those arms and move them forward. Yes. Move them back. Sure. Figure has only just a single hinge on the elbow. Hands rotate still all the way around. I don't know if I really had the chance to show you guys the rings that they've sculpted on those, as well as the individual fingernails. Those are nicely done. I keep pricking myself, not to the point I'm drawing blood. Every single time I move this hand, I always keep poking myself with the fingernails that she has sculpted on the ends of her fingers. Of course, the legs do split out. Don't have to worry, there's nothing going to be shown here. The legs do come forward, yes, and back. There's a swivel at the top of the thigh, single hinge only in the knee, and there's also the, again, articulation in the ankle. Again, the big problem with this figure is not that she possesses pegals in the undersides of her feet. That's actually a plus, but more so the fact that she doesn't have really a big footprint space. So a good thing, again, that the figure came included with a display stand, so you can display Elvira, probably not as awkwardly as I have it right now, but you can at least display Elvira on her display stand. Bring the arms down. Bring the arms down. Have her displayed on the display stand along with the creature that is stirring. And once again, bringing back the original Elvira. Had a bit of a wardrobe mishap here. Let's just bring that up a little bit further. There we go. That's the original Elvira. 3rd time's the charm. Now, of course, we've had this one. We also had the red, white, and blue, which again, I should have probably brought in for this review. Now we have the new Elvira from the Christmas release that, of course, came in with the creature that is stirring. Enough, I feel, has changed. And, of course, seasonal-wise, you may want to be displaying Elvira probably for Halloween season. I just really display these figures all year round anyways. This Elvira may not be finding its way onto my shelf right away, but probably could find its way, making its way out onto my mantle or maybe in my office every single year that I'm planning to decorate for Christmas. I don't know if necessarily I'm going to have her out all year round, although the temptation is certainly there. NECA has done, once again, a great job on Cassandra Peterson. And I'm sure, like everybody else, once you've got a fresh tray of hot cookies from the oven, you celebrate with a Bloody Mary. Okay, maybe not everybody. The creature is stirring, still continues to stir. I don't know what actually batters now inside, considering that Elvira has already baked herself some gingerbread men. And I've got the figure currently displayed, of course, with the tray in her one hand, which she actually does hold quite well, considering really that they're using still the same hands from before. She does actually hold the tray pretty decently, and of course, because the other hand was more of a gripping hand for holding the goblet in the earlier release, she also does have a good job of actually holding the Bloody Mary. The figure has a little harder of a time granted to stand, but once again, NECA considers that by also including as well a display stand that has Elvira's signature. I still don't know how that's supposed to look like an E. It looks more like an S. Slelvira. Anyway, so one thing I really do also like about this release is not only the fact that they gave us 2 head sculpts, they gave us, of course, a Santa-dressed Elvira, but also as well that they gave us a fully articulated or somewhat articulated creature is stirring. Easily, that could have just been a Staction statue piece, but the fact that they also put in not only the articulation hinge joints in the shoulders, the head, but also a hingeable mouth is also a nice touch. Yes, it's not going to be probably an Elvira that's going to see light of day all year round, but rest assured, when the festive season comes back around for 2024, Elvira, her cookies, get your mouth out of the gutters, and the creature is stirring is definitely going to find its way onto the mantle. Or probably in my office. I think the moment I put this figure out on the mantle, I'm probably going to be told, put it somewhere else. We're going to be having family over. What do you guys think of the set? Let me know down below in the comments section. Have you had the chance to pick up the brand new Elvira Xmas set along with the creature is stirring? If you have, let me know down below in the comments section. Also, hey, as well, if you guys are interested and would like to get this one for yourself, the figure set is now available in stores and online. And also, as well, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit it with a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and you would like to stick around for more, we may not be doing much in the way of Christmas spots because, I mean, I'm, again, looking at the outdated calendar on my wall. That joke never gets old. Yes, it does. We are kind of coming down to the wire. Christmas is only a few days away. So if you haven't already Christmas shopped, don't wait till the last minute. I did that one year and I paid the price. I'm still kind of reeling the effects of standing in line for 3 hours waiting to pay for something at Walmart. I don't always shop at Walmart. Now, actually, I shop most of the time online because there's no way I'm going to be going anywhere near stores closer as we get to Christmas. But of course, as always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.